Hello there and welcome back to some more Gran Turismo 5. Today we're continuing our Let's Play. This is episode 31. In today's episode we are taking a look at the Gran Turismo Rally in the beginner stage, our first ever Gran Turismo Rally. For the Gran Turismo Rally you need to go ahead and bring your own car. You don't get supplied one here. Your car needs to have dirt, snow and sports tyres to compete. I went ahead and picked up this Volvo C30R design because I like the Volvo C30R design, and also because, while you might be surprised at this, a four-wheel drive car for the Gran Turismo Rally may not be the best approach for this. So as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and buy the dirt and snow tyres. Unlike a Gran Turismo 4, they aren't ridiculously expensive, so you're only really spending about 12 grand in tyres here, plus the actual buying cost of the car. Which isn't too bad. You do maybe want to upgrade it a little bit later on, but for now we will leave it stock. As you can see, I'm gonna put some aero parts on it because the Volvo C30 has aero parts, and of course I decided to use those. I don't really see if there's much point in doing that normally, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Anyways, of course this is in the special events, I forgot to mention that, but you should know that by now. Gran Turismo Rally Beginner, level 10, and as you would expect from a rally, you've got to race on gravel, snow, and tarmac as well. They're essentially split into 3 different categories. And as you would expect from a rally, you're going to get a co-driver and everything in this one, which is quite nice. As you can see, my competitors here are not the sort of cars you maybe expected. Again, when I first did this initially on a casual playthrough, I bought something all-wheel drive because I thought that's what would be required for this. But as it turns out, all-wheel drive might not be your saving grace here. Every car you compete against is front-wheel drive, and considering there is a horsepower limit of 246, picking something that is all-wheel drive really is just gonna weigh too much and weigh you down. Whereas if you go for something front-wheel drive here, it isn't too bad. Now, it does have to be mentioned, every single time you start a stage in Gran Turismo Rally, you are the last car to go. As you can see, you've got 4 other opponents, or 3 other opponents I should say, and they're going to be going before you do, so you have to sit through this, which takes a long time, but that's the way it works, and then finally you get to go.
3, 2, 1, 4 left.
And as you can hear, you get a co-driver. Do you need a co-driver? No, because the map's right in front of your screen, so you can have the TV turned down super low if you want. It doesn't really matter. I get what they're trying to go for here. It's pretty cool, I guess, that they give you a co-driver, and I believe it's even modelled inside the interior. But do you really need it? No. And as you go through each of the time checkpoints, much like in other rally games, you essentially get a delta time to what the people in front are doing. And this is why front-wheel drive is better here than all-wheel drive, because the rally stages in this game are very wide, more than anything, it has to be said. They're yeah, they're just not particularly rally-esque. There's some trickier corners in some later rally stages. It should also be mentioned at this point, your gameplay might differentiate to mine because all of these rally courses are essentially from the Gran Turismo course creator. They're all randomly generated. There's certain parameters to generate them. I believe they're somewhere between 1 mile and 8 miles, and I think in the beginner courses it's sort of slightly less, while as later on it prefers slightly more. There's also days to it. As far as I remember, the days don't really change all that much, so that is something to bear in mind. It also should be said, the dirt and snow are very easy to combat here. Like I say, every stage is random, so I don't know why I have to interject that, but every stage is random, but it all sort of follows a similar path. They all look the sort of same, and as I said, you're not going to be competing against anything too treacherous in at least the beginner stages. Intermediate, advanced, they do become a little bit more interesting, but for now essentially you're just rallying on this, which as I said is sort of quite easy. Yeah, you get a lot of runoff area. Essentially, the way to do it is the Colin McRae method. Just when in doubt, flat out, which is the way I went about this in my little Volvo C30. So I guess the rally, look, Gran Turismo Rally it's a cool concept, but it just doesn't really work all that well. It does pay out well, as all special events do, really. Maybe it'd be more interesting if they supplied you with your own car, if they made you rely on the rally cars, but in truth they don't. As I said, the limit here is 246 brake horsepower, and then you can bring pretty much whatever you like. You can bring a rear-wheel drive car if you wish. I personally don't really see why you would, but if you want to bring along like a Sylvia, I mean, I don't foresee that being a particularly good option, considering loose gravel and rear-wheel drive cars in Gran Turismo games do just sort of drive like rear-wheel drive cars in Gran Turismo games. So maybe I'd skip on that, but there you go. Anyways, looking at my footage, apparently I do something with car setup here. I'm going to go ahead and put the 6-speed close ratio transmission on the car. I think just because the gear ratios in the C30 were incredibly long. Did I really need to do that? Maybe not, but I just figured it might help the car a little bit just because the standard gear ratios are very long, and I forgot that about the Volvo C30, that it did have quite long gear ratios. So we're sticking the 6-speed close ratio box. If you're doing this on a budget, I mean, realistically, any car that you've been using for the game up to this point, 246 brake horsepower front wheel drive car will do. By this point in the game, you should have a decent roster of vehicles in your garage. I'm just going to have a quick look through my notes. Yeah, basically, I mean, whatever you used for the European Hot Hatch Championship could probably work pretty well here. I mean, we've used some pretty ridiculous cars. The Mazda Atenza could be a good shout as well. I don't know why I'm doing car recommendations when I'm using not that car. I just thought I'd use the C30 because I like it. But considering the C30 runs in at 42 grand, you don't need a C30. The Focus ST actually would be a really good shout for this. Same engine as the one in the C30, but the gear ratios are a little bit better. It's a little bit more of a dynamic car to drive. So maybe that's a good shout if you want something new, but finding a car for this isn't the difficulty. The real difficulty here is the tarmac stages, which we will get to soon, but the dirt stages and the snow stages aren't particularly bad. As you can see, the sun is setting a little bit here on this gravel rally. Oh, I should also mention at this point, much like in actual rallying, essentially the 3 stages that you do in this case, I think it's 5 stages at intermediate, 8 stages for professional, you are running up a time across the whole day, and then that's your final time. So if you lose one stage, it isn't too big a deal, because if you make up enough of a time barrier in the other stages, it won't matter so much. As you can see, you get 60 grand for winning. So yeah, not sure, small chunk of change, and considering this event unlocks at level 10, yeah, that's a pretty good shout. As you can see, another C30 here. We're on to the snow stage. We've got a Renault 5 Turbo. Be interesting to see how that does. As you might have heard, if you watch the IA license video, it has been about 6 or 7 months since I recorded this footage. So to be honest with you, I've got notes which were done at the time, so I sort of know what's going on, but it's bullet points. So I guess some of this footage is surprising me as it's surprising you. I'm interested to see how the Renault 5 does, interesting to see how the C30 does, but the snow for this isn't particularly challenging. I actually find the snow easier. Technically, driving conditions are a little bit worse, but the AI suffer a lot more in the snow, so it isn't too bad. Getting a launch in this is a little bit difficult. I should mention, well, before I settled on using the C30, which was a bit of a late choice actually, the car I was looking at for using this, as you can see, I'm over a second up already, which is insane. that close ratio gearbox really coming into handy. As you can see, this event, as most of the stage ones are in this, literally one corner, 27 seconds, boom. I wish they were all like that, but unfortunately they are not. What comes out of the lead there? Renault 5 took the longest to stop, apparently. Jesus. Okay, yeah, it is the Renault 5 Turbo. Quite surprising. That'd be a cool car to use for this if you want. But yeah, I should mention, also you can see me save the replay for the thumbnail. Spoiler alert, that's how these things work. But fortunately for you, I'm going to cut out all of the waiting time for the next bit, so at least we get to motor through that. Yeah, I should have mentioned the car I was using for testing this event was a Lancia Delta HF Integrale, and actually that didn't plan out too well. I had to do a little bit of upgrading for that for the dirt and snow races. When I saw all the AI show up in the front wheel drive cars, I was like, yeah, maybe that's probably the way to go for this. Obviously, the later rally stages, maybe not. I definitely switched to four-wheel drive for rally intermediates, which you'll see at the time, and also in fairness, a lot of that will probably be me not talking, because there's really not a lot to mention when it comes to the Gran Turismo rally. It's also a bit of a shame that outside of sort of time trialing, this really is the only rallying you do in this game. That is actually a problem with this game that is addressed in Gran Turismo 6, where they do have different event types for rally cars and stuff. But yeah, it is a little bit disappointing perhaps that they don't really play off the rallying so much, especially considering, you know, they've got the fully licensed WRC cars and so on. Yeah, a little bit disappointing, but there you go. That stage wasn't particularly difficult. How much did I win by? Quite a lot, I'd imagine. Yeah, 3 seconds. I mean, yeah, if you found dirt challenging, skip to the snow course, because it's not challenging in the slightest, at least for me. Maybe it is for you. I don't really know. Anyways, as you can see, we are going from here. Yeah, not a lot more to mention. Also, it is worth pointing out, because these are all course maker tracks, the surroundings to these are bland, it has to be said. Yeah, don't, maybe just look at the track and nothing but the track, because you quickly realise that all the scenery here is awful. I'm actually being beaten on that first checkpoint. I guess the Renault 5 gets pretty good traction out of there. Also, in case you are wondering, because you start 5 seconds behind the cars in front, although, actually, technically, you might even be more than that, you can actually catch the cars in front. Also, you do get a time penalty if you hit the barriers in the intermediate stage, I think, not in this beginner stage. As you can see, that was a pretty scruffy stage from us, but we probably still win it, because, yeah, only just, but I mean, as I said, the snow courses here are pretty easy. Won by 5 seconds over the Renault 5 Turbo, Group B legend. Although, is it Group B or is it Group A? I don't remember. Not Group A, sorry, what am I talking about? I think it might have been 1980. Yeah, I don't think it's a Group B car. Anyways, regardless of that point, yeah, we didn't do too shabby there, considering that was a pretty poor run. Now we move on to the tarmac stages, and this is where things get a little bit more challenging. As you can see, I got a bronze there. If I remember rightly, I did upgrade the car going into this. I'm not quite sure what I did to it. I hope it shows up in the footage somewhere. No, maybe I didn't upgrade the car first. I don't remember. Anyways, yeah. So I tried this once. It didn't go very well. Tarmac, the AI have the advantage here purely because they know where they're going, and you don't, because it's a randomly generated course, as these Sardinia, Toscana courses usually are. So what I would personally recommend when you come into the tarmac stages are sport suspension, Perhaps switching on sports soft tyres. I believe you can use any grade of sports tyres that you wish. And maybe just upping the horsepower up to the 246 limit. As you can see, there's an SRT4 there. I think they run about 240-ish horsepower. There's some interesting cars in this. There's a Wilvis in this race as well, which is fantastic. I don't think I've ever found an excuse in a Gran Turismo Let's Play to use a Toyota Will car, which I feel like is a big loss, because, you know, the Toyota Wilvis is a mental thing. Unfortunately, no Toyota Will Vi in this game, which, if you haven't seen it, the Toyota Will Vi is a truly strange looking motor vehicle, which I have actually seen about and on the road and stuff, because a few of them got bought over here. I don't know why people buy them, but that is a thing some people do. Yeah, anyways, that pretty much shows you how interesting. Yeah, Tarmac Rally, just not a lot to say from this. It's trial and error. The corners here are very tight. The actual track is narrower than some of the dirt and snow tracks, which, I mean, take of that what you will. Yeah, like I say, a little bit more challenging, but there you go. That one I did beat by 2 seconds though, so after a little bit of upgrading, a little bit of fettling, we did get there with the car. It's just all about getting confidence. I think I am running sports softs here. Also, you can see it rains here. Sometimes it rains. Doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. In fact, if I'm right, which I'm not usually, you probably benefit from a wet track over the AI, because any form of dirt, snow, rain, well, I say rain, but yeah, dirt and snow affect the AI, so I'm assuming rain. Essentially, whenever there's grip limited, I guess the AI get a little bit more stressed by it. I think this car might actually, maybe I didn't show the, I think this car's upgraded. I really don't know. I'm sorry that I cut it out. I'm almost certain this car is running at least some form of power upgrade. But I could be wrong there. It might just be on sports suspension and softer tyres. I don't really know. As you can see, I managed to take that corner flat out, which is quite surprising. And I definitely wouldn't expect that from a stock C30. Unless I got my act together, who knows. Anyways, the faster the track goes, the more it actually benefits the AI. You sort of want a narrower track, a narrower, tighter, twistier track, which would actually benefit you a little bit more. But of course, it's just not helped by the fact you just don't really know where you're going on these courses, and it's a lot of hills, blind bends, braking around corners, which, you know, that isn't particularly good for a human to do. But of course, an artificial intelligence is a little bit better at that, although, as we've seen from certain Gran Turismo artificial intelligences before, maybe not. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Anyways, we beat that by a second. The SRT4 is one of the best rally cars ever, who knows? So, maybe it was lying early. If you want a car for this, use an SRT4. Apparently that is the key to all of this making sense. Anyways, one last time, one last launch for the C30, raining a little bit more visibility, a little bit more impaired. I believe eventually, I think I say I believe a lot in these videos, who knows. Yeah, I think these events end up going to night in intermediate and expert difficulties, but we'll see when we come to those. As I said, there's just not going to be a lot more to mention when we get there, but we'll get there eventually, I guess. Yeah, not a lot more to mention here. The Tarmac's my least favourite, just because, you know, for me, rallying isn't about Tarmac. I know, you know, historically, of course, it is, but Tarmac stages in WRC games and stuff are always my least favourite. Anyone who's watched a WRC 2 or WRC 1 LP for that matter, actually no, WRC 1 was pretty good. WRC 2 LP will know that. And in case anyone's asking about the WRC 2 LP, I don't know what's happening with that. Just sort of pretend for now that I forgot about saying professional difficulty, because I forgot how much of a fucking nightmare professional difficulty in that game actually was. Anyways, as you can see, Across the line. I might not beat the AI on this one. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Who knows? Okay, I did by 0.11. No, wait, I lost to an SLT4. I'd never want to say that sentence again in my life, but either way, we had a 3-second buffer over the SRT4, so we finally get our gold trophy, and we can be done with the Gran Turismo Rally. 46 grand, that would be 60, but of course I already finished third in this for some reason. Again, I don't have the footage to confirm or deny that one, but there we go. Anyways, for completing all of the Gran Turismo Rally, your prize car is a rally-based car, a road-going rally car, so this could be pretty much Imprezas, Evos, Citroen C4. It could be anything, really. I'm sure there's a list of cars like this could be floating around on the internet somewhere. The car I get for doing all of this is indeed an Impreza, a gorgeous Impreza sedan WRX STI version 2000, which was a great car. A car we used quite a lot in Gran Turismo 3, if memory serves me right. I'm not going to be using it in this game, but if you do want to go ahead and see some pristine WRX STI 2000 gameplay, Gran Turismo 3 LP, that's where you get it, if you can deal with how, well, I was going to say immature and ludicrous we were, but we're exactly the same nowadays, I guess. Anyways, there you go, WRX sedan STI version. You can get worse or better cars from there. I think the most valuable car you can get is like a Renault 5 Turbo, or a 205 T16 or something like that. But anyways, there you go, that is the end of the Gran Turismo Rally for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. Next time I'm going to take a look at the AMG Driving Academy Intermediate. So join us for that. Until then, farewell.
Yes, I will stay here.